Hello, professional communication students in Fort Bend ISD. My name is Miss Simon, and I am a Prof Com teacher at Bush High School. Shout out to my fellow Bush Broncos out there. This week's focus is resume writing and filling out job applications. And before you sit down to write your resume, you have got to start with the number one most important pre-work that you can do, which is creating a personal inventory. So for the next 4.5 minutes, I'm going to give you my fast 5 tips for you to focus on when preparing your personal inventory. So on the screen, let's just go ahead and get started. All right, so firstly, what is a personal inventory? Well, it is the product of your brainstorming and reflecting on things that you've done over the past several years. So it's a listing of valuable information about you, and you, after all, are going to be the subject of your resume. So if you haven't figured it out at this point, this is all about you. So this is a very easy starting point and it's so very beneficial. You want to make sure to mind the time when you are reflecting on the things that you've done. Don't go past 3 or 4 years in the past. When you're in high school, you should not have to go back to elementary school to think about your skills and your work history and things like that. So you want to try to keep it as close to present day as possible. So if you look at the screen, you'll see underclassmen versus upperclassmen, the range of dates that you want to stay within. Next 5 slides are in no particular order. These are just the order that I have provided them. This is not in any order of importance. So the first area of focus is education and training. So this is information about your school, when you're graduating, your endorsement, the academic information that you might want to highlight, and notice that it's if applicable. If you are not in any special courses or if you don't have a high GPA, if you're not ranked really high in your class, that's perfectly fine and you don't have to highlight that. This is just as it pertains to individual students. Same with the certifications. This last column, you'll see OSHA certification, Microsoft Office Suite, lifeguard, CPR, first aid, things like that. This varies from student to student. So if it applies to you, write it down. If not, don't worry about it. Next area of focus is experience. So if you've ever had a job before, internships, co-ops, volunteer work, leadership positions. For those of you who've never had a job before, do not panic. You just need to be a little bit more creative and think about things that you've done that show responsibility, things that show your work ethic. Even if it's something like babysitting or uh, mowing your neighbor's lawns regularly. These are things that have shown some level of dedication and commitment, and people trust you enough to expect you to do that job. So it may not be formal employment, but it does suffice to serve as work history. Next area of focus is your activities. So these are clubs, sports, fine arts, teams that you're on, student government, service organizations, honor societies, all the clubs and organizations that you've participated in for the past 3 to 4 years. You want to brainstorm and put all these things in your personal inventory. Also, under that umbrella, you can be thinking about your accomplishments and your awards, whether it's in the classroom, so academic, or it's outside the classroom and extracurricular awards and accomplishments. And then the last area of focus is a very important one, and these are your skills. So if you happen to speak more than one language and you could successfully have a conversation with somebody in that other language, you want to make sure that you write that down. Same thing with technical skills. If you're drafting and building and computing and designing, all those types of skills are very important for you to take inventory of. And then my personal favorites, I'm a little bit biased as a communication teacher, but transferable skills are so important. These are things that can be carried from one job to another. So as a 16-year-old employee in one industry, these are skills that 10 years from now, when you're 26, working in a totally different environment, totally different industry, these are skills that can be carried and portable from one industry to another. So, in conclusion, that's about it. So, as you're sitting down to prepare your personal inventory, just make sure that you are open minded and you are reflective as you're putting all your information together. And one final note, I want to make sure that you understand you don't want to lie. Don't lie to yourself and definitely don't lie on your resume. I'll see you at the next lesson.